Hi, I'm Maria from Read Fine Books, and this is a review for Book 1 of Middlemarch. Middlemarch is an amazing book. George Eliot has done a wonderful job with everything. Every character in this book is just perfect. I absolutely adore it. And this year I'm reading it again with Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers in her club, the Serialized Book Club. There we'll be reading this one along with lots of other books that were originally published in a serialized manner. Middlemarch was originally published in 8 installments. After reading each of these 8 books, you had to wait about a month or two until the next one. So I'll be reading it this way. If you want to join in and read it this way too, it's a whole different experience, a very interesting way of reading. Given that Middlemarch is so complex with so many characters, what better way is there to review it than review each and every one of the books? So here we are. Book 1 is called Miss Brooke. Miss Brooke is Dorothea Brooke. The first 12 chapters are mostly about her. She is the way we get introduced to people in Middlemarch. This book starts very strong. The style in it reminds me so much of Jane Austen. It is full of funny remarks, uh, very compelling characters from the beginning, and it was such a fast read. This first book also reminds me of the Jane Austen kind of problems. However, I do find that George Eliot's characters are a lot more peculiar, a lot more imperfect, and that makes them a bit more fascinating. So let's dive in. The plot for the first book. George Eliot starts Middlemarch by showing us two sisters, Dorothea and Celia Brooke. They are in a constant comparison with one another. One is an ethereal beauty, something out of this world, a passionate creature, a humble one. The other one, Celia, is a lot more sensible and down to earth and agreeable in the end. Dorothea is naive and inexperienced. She lives a very ascetic life, far from the practical and real world. She dreams of an encyclopedic knowledge. She dreams of learning from the wisest people there are. She dreams of opening her mind to knowledge and religion. However, she also understands that there is no chance for her to get this knowledge because education at the time for women did not include complex works of philosophy or literature, and everything she was taught was actually very shallow for her eagerness, for her thirst of knowledge. That's why when she gets the opportunity to marry, she chooses the wisest and most knowledgeable person she knows, even if that person isn't the very best good looking character or very young. This lucky man she meets is far from perfect. Reverend Edward Casaubon is a lot older than she is, but he is, of course, very entertained by the idea of having someone so young interested in him. He sees Dorothea as a potential helper in his studies, a menial worker, happy to service him. Because he is such a knowledgeable person, he strives to create a grand work, the key of all mythologies. And he's already a bit old, so yes, he could definitely use some help with everything. Dorothea is, of course, convinced he is also a very good man because, apart from his extensive studies, he helps his relatives. He seems to have a very charitable heart to help his poor cousin Ladislaw, for example, despite the fact that we understand that Mr. Ladislaw is a good for nothing, lazy young man. I actually did another video a while back about why Dorothea marries Casaubon. You may want to check that out. I pronounced Casaubon as Casaubon throughout the whole video. I hope you don't mind that. I'm still not 100% sure I'm pronouncing it correctly now, but I hope it makes no difference in the end for you. So while Dorothea fancies Edward Casaubon, her first suitor is James Chatham. This Sir feels very slighted when she chooses someone else. He actually feels very entitled to Dorothea's hand because he is of the proper age, beauty, um, and frankly, he feels entitled just because he lives close by and is from a good family, as is Dorothea. So when she chooses someone else, he immediately rethinks his strategies and focuses all his attention on Celia, Dorothea's sister. All this makes up the first 6 chapters in Middlemarch. The next 6 are focused more on the working class. Having dealt with the noble people of Middlemarch, the working class has a whole different set of troubles, and these are mostly focused on inheritance and money. So these people are not noble. They may be rich or poor, but they don't possess any titles, and none of them owns land. These are the Vinces, the Garths, the Walls, and the Bulstrodes. Of course, another interesting character is Peter Featherstone. He does own land. He owns Stone Court. It is his inheritance everyone wants, as he is childless and very old. At the center of all this gossip about inheritance is also Fred Vincy. He is the mayor's son and one of Peter Featherstone's nephews. He seems to already be in debt. He has a gambling problem. He's also incapable of passing exams to become a priest. His uncle, Peter Featherstone, is not crazy at all about him, as he mostly does nothing. He's a young man that feels so lost and without direction and waiting for things to happen for him. He doesn't know how to do anything. He has been raised with the idea that he will inherit Stone Court. Given that his uncle is still alive, he has no purpose for the moment because he waits for his entire life to actually begin when he'll become a rich person. At least that is what it felt to me. The idea of not knowing your future, being prepared for something that doesn't happen for a long while is destabilizing for his mental health. That is what I feel makes him so irresponsible. So we get to know him in this first book, and his story is far from over. However, another interesting, very interesting character we get introduced to is Tertius Lydgate. He is a doctor, he is new in town. Everyone is intrigued by his presence. As an outsider, he looks very suspicious. No one knows much about him. He comes from a very good family, and that sets him apart from other doctors. And being from out of town, the mayor's daughter, Rosamond Vincy, is immediately taken with him. She does her best to appear amazing in front of him, and that is kind of it. Middlemarch's first book feels like a little telenovela. We are left with so much suspense awaiting for book 2. But in the meantime, let's discuss a little book 1. As I said before, George Eliot's humor in this book has no equal. She manages to give us not characters, but entire persons with feelings, motivations, backgrounds. In just a few chapters, we already feel we are a part of this town. We feel that these people are our neighbors, and we are very much intrigued by everything that happens. None of them are perfect. That is what makes them feel so real. I was hooked from the beginning into this universe. Getting to know many characters at once may feel a bit overwhelming. If you feel that way, maybe some character maps would help. I have some posted on my blog, and I'll be sure to update them for each book individually. But more than that, this book is just the beginning of some interesting themes that will definitely develop throughout the novel, like the political agenda of Mr. Brooke. Mr. Brooke is Dorothea and Celia's uncle. No one knows where to place him politically. Is he a Tory or a Whig? This seems like an important thing even from the beginning. We also get the feeling it is important where characters stand about the Catholic Relief Act of 1829. Mrs. Cadwallader even goes so far as to warn Mr. Brooke that he seems very suspicious because he had already sided with Peel. And if that seems something foreign to you, well, it is. No one knows what she's talking about. I had to research this a lot, and I'll be sure to post another video where I get to talk about this a little more in depth. But for now, know that politics and religion are important themes in Middlemarch, and the way they are approached there is very entertaining, even if you have no clue about them. It is one of the reasons why George Eliot chose to place the action of Middlemarch around this time, because this is a major political change in Great Britain. So, yes, we will discuss everything further. But this book one was amazing from the start to draw us in the Middlemarch universe. If you want to start Middlemarch, I highly advise you to read it with us this year. You'll find in the description the link to Nicole's Discord group. There in the Serialized Book Club, we've already started Middlemarch, but you have lots of time to catch up because we'll be reading it throughout the year. So if you find these topics fascinating, I hope you join, and we'll discuss the book some more there. Before you leave, if you've read book one in Middlemarch, tell me which one is your favorite character so far. I'm Maria from Read Fine Books. Thank you for watching.